Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be checking out Braiins, so let's get right into it. So today we're going to be checking out Braiins, and we're going to be checking out the Braiins OS, which is a firmware that you could put on your S19s, S9s, T17s, S17s. They have an entire list right here of all their supported models, and they support pretty much all the amp miners that have ever come out. So they have this neat thing called the Braiins Toolbox. So we're going to click download here, and you can see that they have the Braiins Toolbox, and you can check out the supported devices. And this is really cool how they have this Braiins Toolbox, and you can see all of your devices and things like that. But there is a catch. This is only supported by Linux. So that's a lot of issues because there's definitely lots of Windows users here. Now, I do believe that they just came out with a recent update last week for Mac OS, so it is supported Macs, but Mac is also Linux based. So I'm going to teach today. I'm going to teach you how to use WSL and then Kali Linux. In this way, we'll be able to use the Braiins Toolbox on our Windows machine. So WSL is a acronym for Windows Subsystem for Linux. So this way we're able to have a virtual environment of Linux running on top of our Windows machine, which is great, right? So there is one thing you have to do before this will even work, and you have to go into your BIOS of your motherboard and enable either SVM for AMD or the VT or VTD for the Intel virtualization, whatever CPU you have. So you will have to enable virtualization for this to work. If you do not do this prior, this will not work on your system. So once you have that done, though, we need to go and actually install WSL onto our operating system. So we're going to do WSL space -- install with the elevator privileges, and we're going to hit enter. Now it's installing the virtual machine platform. It's installing WSL for Linux. It's going to prompt you again for elevator privileges. You're going to hit yes. And now we're installing everything for this whole. You're going to want to hit yes to everything, but this is the main thing here is the requested operation is successful. Changes will not take effect. So once we've rebooted the computer, we are going to look up Kali Linux. We're then going to install this right here. You can open it from right here, or you could find it in the start menu. I kind of like to open it from the start menu myself. So here's Kali Linux. Now, all you have to do is just click on it, and then it will install. You can see here installing. This may take a few minutes, blah, blah, blah. And if everything went correctly, like if all the virtualization stuff in your motherboard is supported and everything like that, and everything's working as it should, you may have to update your Windows 10 or Windows 11 to get this to work. If this isn't working for you, and make sure you are right-clicking and running the command prompt as the administrator. We need to pick a username for our particular, our machine here. So let's go ahead and we're just gonna call it Panda, and we'll do Panda Rocks and Panda Rocks. Okay, now you might be asking me, Mining King, we still have a terminal window. Why are we on the terminal? Well, we have to start this way before we could actually get the desktop to work. So we do have to do a few more commands in order to get the desktop GUI to work. So the first thing we need to do is we need to update all the dependencies for the Kali Linux terminal. So we're going to do a sudo app update with an and symbol and sudo app upgrade -y, and then hit enter, and it will probably prompt you for the password, which you'll need to enter the correct password. There we go, Panda Rocks. Okay. So now you're going to download and get all of, the latest, dependencies and all this stuff for Kali. So this is going to take a couple of minutes. So go ahead, go grab something to drink, whatever, come back. This thing will be done in like 5 minutes. So we're back on our terminal here. So the next step we're actually going to do is going to be, we're actually going to install the desktop interface, and the command we're going to be using is going to be sudo app install kali desktop xfc space -y. And the -y at the end, it just means that if it asks you yes or no, you're automatically telling it to always do yes at the end of this line. This will take about 5 to 10 minutes. It does take quite a bit of time to compile everything for the GUI version of the desktop, so it will get many packages and dependencies. So go ahead, go get a Red Bull, go get a coffee, or whatever you like to drink, and I'll see you back here in 5 minutes. All right, guys. So once you've waited this long-awaited time for to do your install here, we're going to install the remote desktop. So this way we could actually remote into the actual GUI of Kali Linux. So it's going to be sudo apt install xrdp space -y and enter, and it'll just take a couple of seconds. Now we need to figure out the IP address of our virtual machine, so we could do that with a simple IP space A to get the printout for the IP for the ports. So it looks like it's 172.30.64.247 is going to be our virtual machine. So we're going to type in remote desktop in our search bar, and we're going to open up the app and run it as the administrator, and make sure to hit yes on that. And you can see here I've already copied in the IP address 172.30.64.247. So now that we have the IP and everything, we have a remote desktop set, we actually need to also enable the XRDP service. So we need to do sudo service space xrdp start. Enter. Okay, now it started the remote desktop protocol server. Now we can actually come back, and now we're actually going to click on our remote desktop connection and hit connect. And then it's going to ask you, hey, do you really want to connect to this? It could be bad. And we hit yes. So we need to put in our password of panda and panda rocks. So this is going to be Kali Linux, and this is what you're going to be presented with. And what we want to do is we're going to want to, and I know that this may not be maximized very well. This is in Linux, so if things seem small, I'm really sorry. I can't make it any bigger. So let's go ahead. We're going to click on the little Firefox symbol up here, because that's going to be our internet browser. All right, and now we're going to type in Braiins firmware. Okay, and there we go. We're on Braiins now. See if I can't make this bigger a little bit. Okay. Hopefully that's big enough here. See if maybe if I can make this a little bit bigger here. All right, blew it up a little bit for you guys. Hopefully you guys can see. Okay. So we're on the Braiins firmware. We're going to click download now. We're going to click download the toolbox, and then blow this up really big for you guys, because I want you guys to see this. Okay, is we want to download the Braiins Toolbox Linux x86 64 tar.gz. A tar file is essentially like a zip file, but in Linux. So we're going to download the file. We're going to wait patiently for it. Okay, so it says that we've downloaded the file. So let's go ahead into our folder here. Go to downloads, and there we go. Now I'm going to move it to the desktop. Okay, and then we're going to right click and then do extract here. And then we will do extract here again. So pretty much you have to do like 2 extractions. You extract this. I don't know why it makes me do a double extraction. It's weird. I have to like extract this out to get to the tar and then back into here. This is a zip file, which I don't get, and then it does it into a tar and then it uncompresses. I don't know why it does this, but this is the way we do it, right? Now you have this little cog, right? This Braiins Toolbox thing. We're going to double click it, and then it's going to bring us to this right here, which is the Braiins Toolbox dashboard, all right? So now we're in here. Now we can add an IP range. So we can call this, we'll just call it KiiNG's ASICs. And the IP range is going to be 10.10.3.1 through 254. Okay, so this is how you would fill out a range. You can make your range whatever you want it to be. You could also do very specific values if you know the IP address of the miner, so you don't have to do the entire subnet. It's up to you. You could do just .13 if you know that's what it is, or if you want to do the whole range, you could do that as well. So we would do a save and scan. And now it's going to scan our network. So now that we've scanned the network, and now you can see that I already have Braiins OS on my S19K Pro and my S19J Pro. If you click this box right here, you can see that you guys can, work the configs and the pool configs directly from here if you'd like. But this is the magic. You want to click install Braiins OS. Now I already have Braiins on mine, so I don't need to do this, but you would check off any ASICs that you want to install Braiins on. Like you could do as many as you want. Like if you had like 100 miners and you want them all to have Braiins, you would just click this to click them all and then click install Braiins. Now it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to install Braiins onto the miner. It's actually very, very fast. And then once it is, you would go to the IP address like this 10.3.13, and you're going to notice that the login page now says Braiins OS. It's no longer the Antminer one, right? The bitmain. Now, if it is still the bitmain for you, just do a Control F5. If you're trying to do it from like the actual Windows page, just do Control F5 in Windows, and it will flush the cache of your internet, and this way it'll pick this up. So it's going to be whatever I just left these as root for right now because I'm doing lots of testing. So it's going to be just whatever your password is that you had on the machine previously before you installed Braiins. So we're going to log in, and so we're on the S19K Pro. It's a little warm outside right now. It's about 87, 89 degrees. So the fans are like at 74% compared to at night when they're only like at like 30%. So I am drawing more power, which is hurting my efficiency, right? I'm like at between 20 and 21 efficiency, when at night I'm between 19 and 20. So temperature does play a role in this. Now, this is really, really cool stuff, man. I love Braiins. This is such a cool program. So they have lots of readouts for your dashboard here, like your frequency, your chip temperature, board temperature, voltages, your pool, your uptime, and all that stuff. And this is all your shares right here. Hash rate over 1 minute, 15 minutes, 24 hours, accepted, difficulty. Lots of information here. Your current power usage is right here, is how many watts you're pulling. This is your efficiency, your hash rate. So lots of really good information here. Now, to work this, and this is the first section in the configuration, is just going to be for your pool. I'm mining to NiceHash. Now, this is where the magic is. So I'm using the auto tuning, and there's 2 ways to auto tune. You could either pick a hash rate. Now, I don't want to click this because so you can either do a power target of, this is my target power, and it is a little high. It's like at 1680 right now, and that's probably because it's a little warm today, right? So this is my target power, and sometimes it's under this, sometimes it's like 1650, right? Or you could set an actual hash rate that you want to achieve. If you want 90 terahashes, if you want 100 terahashes, or whatever it is you're trying to achieve, you could put this here and then it will do it at the lowest possible power. So there's two ways to tune. I'm tuning right now with power. I'm testing the difference between power versus the hash rate target. So there's also, you could control your fans here. You can also set it for immersion if you guys are doing immersion cooling. Lots of good features in here. Really cool stuff here. You can also change the color theme from dark to light. You know what I mean? Right now it's on auto, so I think it's like on dark mode by default. You can obviously adjust the network here if you want it to be static or DHCP. And then you also have your log file here. So my S19J Pro, it fluctuates between 23 and 24 watt efficiency. Like I said, right now, look at the fans right now are at 100%. That's because I have them on auto and they are set to a particular temperature on the board. I probably don't need to be running it this hard, but I'm okay with that, so it's fine. It is a little bit of a warm day, but like I said, during at night, these fans will ramp down and it will use less power. So let me know your guys's let me know your guys' thoughts. I'm getting between 23 and 24 watts of terahash on my S19J Pro by using Braiins. I think it's really cool that we can tune our efficiencies much, much lower. And just remember, the money can gives you the most hashes, and I'll see you next time.